Oh my God, look at this car. Is it one of the most in-your-face vehicles in the world? Especially in this wasp paint scheme. In fact, it's the same colours as the radiation warning sign, isn't it? Anyhow, enough about that. What we have here is a Honda Civic Type R, and this is the special limited edition version, so it's the very, very pinnacle of Type R-ness. Now in this video I'm going to talk you through the upgrades that you have with the Type R over the standard Civic. I'm going to explain about some of the changes that Honda has made to the Type R as part of a midlife facelift. I'm going to talk you through all the upgrades that you get with this limited edition version, and then I'm going to take it for a drive, pin it around a track, and of course I'm going to launch it to see how quick it is to 60 miles an hour and over the standing quarter mile. I'm Matt Watson and you're watching Carwow.
Buying a new car? Then head to Carwow and my team will help you find your next car at a fair price. Carwow, your one-stop car buying comparison site.
Let's start off this review by talking about the price. So the Civic Type R kicks off from just over £34,000, rising to just under £40,000 for this limited edition version. Though you can save an average of, look, almost £2,000 off a Type R through Carwow. And if you want to see how much you can save on one of these, or any car for that matter, I'll put a link, should be popping out in the top right hand corner of the screen. You click on that, you can go to Carwow to check out the latest deals. I've also put a link in the description below. Alternatively, if you just want to do that at a later date, you can simply Google "Help Me Carwow" and my team and I help you choose the right car for you and get it for a fair price from one of our trusted Carwow dealers. Now let's talk about the design, because the Civic Type R is very much in your face, mainly because it's got this huge rear wing. Though if you don't want this on your Type R, you can actually get a version called the Sport Line. It has a slightly more discreet spoiler, though still it's quite an aggressive looking car from the rear because it's got sportier rear bumper than the standard Civic and your Type R badging. And as part of a midlife facelift, Honda have added some extra little bits here in the bumper, so it looks like a diffuser. It's not a real diffuser, just it's a fake one. Other side, you've got a serious body kit going on. Flared wheel arches, back and front. Huge side skirts as well, with these little fins at the back. You have wheel sizes starting at 19s on the Sport Line, rising up to 20 inches. And Honda have added some new colours. This yellow and a rather nice blue. Here at the front, the Type R has a bonnet scoop and an aggressive front bumper, and this front valance as well. And you'll notice actually around the car there's lots of red piping to match the red Honda badge. Honda's actually redesigned the Type R's lower bumper to make it look even more aggressive than before, and they've certainly achieved that job, haven't they? Look at it. Here on the inside of the Type R, the first thing that stands out are the incredible red sport seats. So if you have a Sport Line version, you can have them in black instead, so more discreet. The seats themselves are really great. They fit your body, well, they fit my body perfectly, and you sit nice and low in them. Then there's a steering wheel. It used to be trimmed in leather, now it's trimmed in Alcantara-like material, which once again feels like a race car. Really like the steering wheel. I also like the gear knob. Now the gear knob used to be round, but now they've made it into this teardrop shape, but it's still solid metal, so it feels great to touch. Now there's lots of red stitching about the place and red accents on the dash and this fake carbon fibre effect here, all of which combine to make this feel really noticeably more sporty than the standard Civic. You do feel like you're sat in something special. Then there's the digital dials that you've got there, which change appearance ever so slightly. They go red when you're in R mode, which is the sportiest mode, and you've also got a shift up indicator there, so it'll flash lights when you need to change gear. Handy when you're on track and you're just going as fast as you can. You don't have to kind of be looking at your revs too much. Now I need to point something out about this particular car, this limited edition model. You might notice there is a space there where the infotainment would normally be, and Honda's infotainment system isn't great, so it's no great loss. The reason they've removed it is reduce the weight of this car. More on that in a bit, but it does mean that you now have a perfect place where you can just put your mobile phone and you can just use that instead. Another thing they've removed on this car is the air conditioning. So while you have a temperature setting, you put it to low, it doesn't get cold. That's another weight saving measure. To make up for all of that, you do then get a plaque for this limited edition model. Now there's going to be 100 made and 20 coming to the UK, and this is #1 of the UK allocation. Lovely. One thing that's not so lovely is this though. Look, I've noticed that while build quality generally is pretty solid in here, check this out. Wobbly centre console. Anyway, ignore that. It does feel nice in here overall. Here in the back, despite being a very sporty car, the Type R is just as practical as the normal Civic. So look, good knee room, good headroom, reasonably comfy seats, though the material that they're trimmed with is nowhere near as nice as that for the front seats. Still, at least you get some red stitching and the same red seat belts as the guys in the front, so it still feels quite sporty back here. One of the great things about the Honda Civic Type R is that it has a huge boot. 420 litres, so loads of space. I like the clever little load cover as well. Neat little solution that. There is one thing that does annoy me about it though, watch this. When you shut the boot, the way that wobbles just seems a little bit cheap. And that brings me on to 5 annoying things about the Honda Civic Type R. There's quite a lot of fakery on this car. For instance, there are some vents here, but actually there's no vents on the inside of the wheel arch, so they can't possibly work. The worst thing though is all the fake carbon fibre, which just looks a little bit cheap, especially on the outside. And then on the back of the sport seats, that's fake carbon fibre as well, which is just a little bit bleh. When you put the car into the sporty setting, the Plus R mode, it automatically turns on the rev matching, so that actually blips the throttle when you change down a gear. Now you might be thinking, wait a minute, I bought a manual car, I want to rev match myself. Well, if you want to do that, then you have to go through the menus and press this button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, to find the setting and then turn it off. There we go. And now you can rev match yourself. So your time on track is now up. The Type R's 3-pipe exhaust may look really cool, but it doesn't sound particularly good. Have a listen to this. It's like a vacuum cleaner. It's not helped by the fact there's a soft limiter. Anyway, that's enough of that, it's pointless. If you get the standard or GT version of the Civic Type R, it comes on Continental tyres, which are nowhere near as good as the Michelins you can get on this limited edition version or the Sportline model. Fancy one of these limited edition models because you're a track day junkie? Well, bad luck, all 20 have been sold out.
Don't worry, there's still plenty to like about this car. Here's the carwow 5 core features.
The Type R features lower stiffened sport suspension over the standard Civic. It also gets adaptive dampers as standard, and for this facelift version they've actually improved the responsive time of the adaptive dampers so they can adapt more efficiently, 10 times quicker than on the old car. The Type R also gets uprated anti-roll bars front and back over the standard Civic to keep it nice and flat through the bends. The Type R has recalibrated steering over the normal Civic to make it more responsive. Only for this new facelift version, they've actually tweaked it further so it's even sharper than before. The Type R gets upgraded Brembo sport brakes, and for this facelift version, they've made them as a 2-piece design for improved stopping, power and performance when you're out on track. As before though, the car still gets the same limited slip differential on the front axle to really help it put down its power as it's coming out of a bend. For this limited edition version of the Type R, Honda hasn't only just removed the air conditioning and the stereo, they've also removed a load of sound deadening material from the boot, the roof and the wheel arches. They've also fitted it with forged alloy wheels which save 2.5 kilos per corner. The result is a saving of 47 kilos, which is quite a lot really, and it brings the total weight down to 1,358 kilos. In fact, it's significantly lighter than the normal car, which is just over 1,400 kilos, that they've had to retune the suspension slightly for this limited car. For a car that looks aggressive as this, it has such a puny horn. Have a listen to this. Hi! You alright? I'm a Honda! The Civic Type R has its own unique 2-litre turbocharged engine. It pumps out 320 horsepower and 400 newton meters of torque. Also has a rather nice red cover to it as well. Oh, look here, it says Earth Dreams here on the inlet for the turbo, and VTEC. Yeah, that allows it to rev, a revvy turbo. Okay, let's take this Type R for a drive, and the best way to drive it is flat out. It's such a quick car this. What I'm going to do is a little test right from the get-go, because one of the most impressive things about this car is its brakes. I'm going to do an emergency stop for 70 miles an hour. My goodness, look at this. It stopped from 70 miles an hour in just 45 meters, which is actually quite a short distance really. These brakes are excellent, but let's not be dwelling on stopping, let's focus on going, shall we? In fact, a bit later on in this video I'm going to launch it to see how quick it is from 0 to 60 miles an hour and over the stunning quarter mile, but for now let's just give it a solid hooning. Whoa. This turbo engine revs up to 7 and it's so strong. One of the great things about this Type R, the steering is just so nice. It's very accurate, and the feel's good as well. You can tell what's going on with the front wheels, and then there's the fact you've got that diff at the front which really does just hook up. I mean, it bites into the tarmac. With this particular car, this limited edition one, you have to be very, very careful to warm the tyres up because Pilot, Sport, Cup 2s need to be warm, and at first when they're not warm, and when you're just doing normal driving on the road, you can find them a little bit slippery. You get into a bend a bit quickly and you lift off, the back end will come round. But once they're warm, they just hold on, and the back end really holds on. And then when you combine it with that diff, which will just allow you to get the power down really soon out of a corner, especially for a front wheel drive car, and you can just feel it doing this thing where it's just like going like that, digging into the tarmac to pull you out of a bend. I've had this car on track recently. I was hooning it about and it was an absolute blast. It feels like you're driving a touring car. It is so good. If you're a regular track day fan, you want yourself a Civic Type R, you will love it. Now for everyday driving, not so much, but we'll come to that in a moment because I still want to focus on the actual performance side of things. The gear shift on this car is one of the best, if not the best, of any hot hatch. The pedal placement as well is really good, so you can hill and tow, but if you want, it's got a rev matching facility, so you don't have to. For this latest version of the Civic Type R, they've actually changed the weighting slightly, so it's even snicketier. Is that even a word? Well, it applies to the Civic Type R because it's like snickety. So good. And the actual gear knob itself, the metal gear knob, is lovely to hold. Wow, you want to hoon it. It doesn't think the way it bounces around as it's like finding traction. It's an absolute animal. Let's calm down because it's not all good. When you're just driving this car normally, it can get on your nerves. Yes, you do have adaptive dampers and you can put them into comfort mode, but even in comfort mode, the car does feel pretty firmly sprung and a little bit kind of like jostling around over bumps. Another problem you have with it is the fact that the turning circle is awful. Look at this. So you're manoeuvring, but you end up having to do quite a few 3-point turns. I took a lot of space to turn around there. It's a bit of an issue. Another thing are the tyres. So the standard tyres you get on the normal version, Continentals, they're not that great if you're on track. They're all rightish on the road. These Cup 2s aren't great on the road unless you're really going for it. And regardless of which version of the Type R you have, on the road in the winter, it's a little bit of a handful. It just wants to spin up its front wheels. It's all right now because it's dry. Look, we put the power down, but even then it's like, when it's a bit damp or greasy, this thing just starts to spin up its wheels, and then if you've got the stability control engaged, which you should have if you're driving on the road, it just cuts the power, cuts your fun, and you don't really know where you are with it. It can be a bit sketch. It's hard work, and this one, this limited edition version, is even more hard work because you notice the lack of soundproofing. In fact, they're taking it out, it's just noisier when you're on the motorway. You can't drown it out with a stereo because you don't have a stereo. If you're on track, you got your helmet on, it's a hot day, you're hot and sweaty, you can't cool the car down because it hasn't got air conditioning. It is a compromise, but if you buy it with that focus in mind that you're going to be track daying, this is an absolute animal to just drive. This is one of the best hot hatches ever created and arguably the best on sale at the moment, although it's not actually. And if you want to find out why it's not, I've got a link up there. If you click on that, you can watch my group test video with this and 2 other hot hatches, one of which I think is better than this. So click on that to go watch it. Anyway, let's do the launch. Here we go. It's just trying to spin up its wheels. 0 to 60, 5.78. What's it going to do for the quarter? Have I got enough space? There's a cat in the road. There's a bloody cat just wandering around on the track. Can't kill a cat. It said 13.92, but I think I backed out. Let's go again. Okay, let's do this. Hopefully there's no felines to get in the way this time. It really does just want to spin up its wheels in first. 5.77. What is a real quarter mile? 13.92. Oh, so the cat didn't thwart me. Blamed it on the pussy. Always blame it on the pussy. Let's do one more. Oh, I love a launch, I do. Or is that lunch? Anyway, I like both. 5.62, come on. 13.77. I'm not going to get better than that, and I can't blame it on the cat this time. I'll do. So then, what's my final verdict on the Honda Civic Type R? Should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Well, if you want the ultimate front-wheel drive hot hatch and you can put up with the looks, you should go right ahead and buy the Type R. It's absolutely awesome. Of course, you can't have this one because the limited edition is all sold out. Hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like because it helps us in the algorithm. Also, will you comment? Anything, even rude stuff about me, I don't mind. Now, if you want to watch some more videos, click on the windows there. And if you click on that box there, you can check out some amazing deals through carwow. In fact, don't click on that, please, because it might blow your mind.
Get to the point.